Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Hello, my name is Cohen Sassman, and this is your news at 3 p.m., followed by sports. First off, Prime Minister Mark Carney is headed to Washington today to discuss trade for his second White House meeting with the U.S. President Donald Trump tomorrow. Nira Ahmed with the Canadian Press has the story.
Tariffs and North American security will be high on the agenda when the two leaders meet at the White House. The bulk of Canadian goods continue to enter the United States tariff-free thanks to an exemption under the Canada-US-Mexico Agreement, which is up for review next year. But Canadian officials say lately they're focusing on finding relief to steep sectoral tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, copper, and autos, as well as duties on softwood lumber. Nira Ahmed, The Canadian Press.
Canada Post takes signing bonuses off the table in the latest offer to the union. The union, which is representing 55,000 striking workers, says this will only make negotiations harder. The bonus is typically between $500 and $1,500. The two sides have been negotiating for a new collective agreement for a year and a half, and the workers went back on full-time strike last week after the government announced sweeping changes to the corporation. Tim Hortons is increasing the price of their coffee. The company is stating that the increase of coffee pricing is due to tariffs, shipping costs, and inflation. Our reporter Clara Laton with BCIT has the story.
With the inflation rate rising in recent years, stores are forced to increase the prices of their goods. Tim Hortons is not an exception. After 3 years, the company confirmed in a media release Sunday that they have raised the price of their coffee items. Consumers will see an extra 3 cents on their bills. Rising costs and the ongoing U.S. tariff war is the reason for this decision. A small coffee business, Coffee Bike World, states that as the cost grows, the price will also grow. Small businesses have no leeway on this matter as they have relatively small profit margins and cannot give up more.
Vancouver police are investigating a fatal shooting in the city's Strathcona neighborhood. They say they were called at about 7 a.m. Tuesday on a location near Main and Union Street. Officers found a man suffering from gunshot wounds. Police say he was taken to hospital but died of his injuries. No one has been arrested, and the police say it is unclear if the shooting involved people who knew each other. They say officers were are expected to be at the scene for the day to collect evidence. North Vancouver RCMP are investigating a road rage incident resulted by a disagreement over merging. The victim suffered injuries from an incident, as our very own reporter Caleb Templeton explains.
On Saturday at around 3 p.m., North Vancouver RCMP received multiple calls of a road rage incident that occurred around Boulevard Crescent and East 21st Street in North Vancouver. It is alleged that a gray Subaru and a white Jeep were the two vehicles involved in the incident over a merging disagreement. Allegedly, the driver of the white Jeep got out of the car and was struck by the driver of the gray Subaru. Multiple people reported on the incident, and police took the alleged suspect into custody. The victim was later taken to hospital in critical condition. The alleged suspect is facing multiple charges and has been released with police conditions. Caleb Templeton, BCIT News.
Nanaimo police in BC say they will be pulling back their presence at 2 schools that were targeted by an unspecific threat earlier this week. The RCMP say in a statement that they will be continuing to communicate with staff at Wellington High School and Nanaimo District Secondary, but the officers will not be present starting Friday. They say the change is based on findings of their ongoing investigation. RCMP have not released details of the threat other than to say it is a direct threat to both schools, and officers were deployed out of an abundance of caution. Police in Montreal say a newborn baby was abandoned Sunday night. He was found outside a Montreal South Shore house around 11 p.m. Someone rang the doorbell and ran. The homeowners of the house found the baby and called 911 right away. Officer Joaquin Pierre says paramedics provided care for the boy at the scene. He was transmitted to a newborn hospital, and the officers say the boy is doing okay. Even after collecting evidence, police have not found the person who allegedly abandoned the baby. In international news, a snowstorm trapped hundreds of hikers on Mount Everest during China's national holiday, which is called Golden Week. AP correspondent Charles D. Lasma reports.
Chinese state media reported late Sunday that about 350 hikers had reached a meeting point, while helpers are in contact with another 200 hikers who were trapped at camps at an elevation of over 16,000 feet. Villagers with their oxen and horses have ascended the mountain as part of rescue efforts amidst the heavy snow. They're aiming to clear paths and bring down the trapped people. A hiker who managed to descend told Jimun News that the snowfall had crushed some tents. The snowstorm struck during a national holiday in China when many people go travelling. There's been no immediate update on rescue efforts so far on Monday. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
U.S. President Donald Trump tried sending the National Guard from Texas and California to Portland, Oregon, but a U.S. federal judge has blocked the president's motion. The court also denied Donald Trump's decision to deploy Oregon's own National Guard members to Portland. Portland is a Democratic-led city that is getting targeted based on the president's claims that crime is out of control, when it's really just protesters over his administration immigration enforcement.
Portland is burning to the ground. It's insurrectionists all over the place. It's Antifa. And yet the politicians who are petrified. Look, the politicians are afraid for their lives. That's the only reason that they say, like, there's nothing happening. And you've seen it. The place is burning down.
Greta Thunberg has been deported from Israel and has landed in Greece, alongside 170 other Gaza activists. Her crew was recently intercepted by Israel naval forces. According to another activist, she was tortured and forced to kiss the Israel flag by Israeli officers. She is in a safe hands now, but the experience was brutal. For the young activist, one activist who was also taken said they were denied basic rights during their detention. The political activist, Winfield Beaver, talks about the treatment of Greta.
They draped her in an Israeli flag and they just pushed and pulled her wherever they wanted and for whatever propaganda they wanted. I was like 3 people in front of her in line, and she came close to this private room and they just shoved her really aggressively and put her in the room, and then Ben Gvir arrives and goes into the room with her. And they were just, it was awful, but they were trying to use her as propaganda for their...
And in sports, news out of the Oilers organization. The superstar forward Connor McDavid has agreed to re-sign with the Edmonton Oilers. AP correspondent Gethin Kulba has the story.
Connor McDavid has signed a contract extension to remain with the Edmonton Oilers. The 3-time MVP and the only NHL organization he has played with finalized a 2-year, $25 million contract Monday ahead of the new season. McDavid will count $12.5 million against the salary cap from 2026 through 28. The deal for the best hockey player in the world does not come close to approaching the richest contract in league history, agreed to last week when Minnesota signed Kirill Kaprizov for $136 million over 8 years. I'm Gethin Kulba.
The Blue Jays' playoff success has been a huge impact across all levels of baseball in Canada. Our reporter, Brendan Coombs, talked with the president of Coquitlam's Little League, his name is Sandon Fraser, who is noticing an uptick in registration.
I think most kids play sports. A lot of kids play sports with a dream of maybe being able to reach higher levels of the sport. So it's inspiring when they can see local talent. It's inspiring when the teams that they like do well.
The Toronto Blue Jays are up on the New York Yankees 2-0 in the AL Division Series. The third game of the series will be in New York on Tuesday, the 7th. If the Jays win this game, they will advance to the National League Championship Series. In WNBA news, the WNBA Commissioner Kathy Albert spoke out for the first time following criticism from Minnesota Lynx star Nafis Collier. Nafis Collier said this league has the worst leadership in the world. Players in the WNBA say that the league has outdated marketing strategies and very little communication between the league and its players. This is the commissioner's response.
The players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better and I have to do better.
An update to the stolen Hawk story. Out of the Lo-Fi Stadium, the LA Rams have released a statement saying if anyone has any info on the missing bird, that they can please contact the front office or the police. The Hawks were in an electric cart which was stolen from the Lo-Fi Stadium. Alex Stone with ABC News out of Los Angeles has the story.
At last week's Rams game at SoFi Stadium, somebody stole an electric cart with hawks and their carriers in the back. The hawks are specially trained to be used by a falconer to scare away other birds during big events at SoFi Stadium. A few days later, the stolen vehicle was found, but the hawks were gone. Now, one hawk named Bubba turned up in the backyard of a home in Inglewood over the weekend near SoFi Stadium. The other hawk named Alice has yet to be found. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Mark Sanchez, the former American football player and now broadcaster for Fox, is facing felony charges after an altercation that happened on Saturday. Geethan Kulbaugh with AMC has the story.
Mark Sanchez was pepper sprayed and stabbed multiple times during a late-night altercation Saturday with a 69-year-old truck driver in an Indianapolis alley, which resulted in criminal charges against the Fox Sports analyst, according to court records filed Sunday. A police affidavit alleges that Sanchez smelled of alcohol and accosted the driver at a hotel's loading docks, leading to a confrontation outside the vehicle that prompted the driver to defensively pull out a knife. Sanchez was in stable condition after being hospitalized with stab wounds to his upper right torso. I'm Gethin Kulbaugh.
Cohen's Acid, BCIT News.
Stay tuned.
When I tell people that I studied journalism, they immediately say, oh, you want to be a reporter. But I think, in my case personally, I really want to go into magazines, PR, social media. And I think here at school we learn a lot of skills that allow you to go into that world, because you learn how to write for social media, social content, for websites,